My name is Jen Wilger, and I am the Executive Director and co-founder of the Temple Grandin School in Boulder. And that is to enable neurodiverse students to recognize and realize their potential.
So if you put an autistic person into a neurotypical environment like a public school, they're probably going to get bullied for being different. So it makes sense to put them in a situation where maybe everyone knows they're different, so they're not going to be as judgmental about that.
Specifically when I was a kid and I was still in school, I faced a lot of bullying, and the main reason for that was pretty much that I had this diagnosis, this big word of autism, and nobody was teaching their kids what that was. Schooling was incredibly difficult for me. So with autism and with TGS, I cannot stress how big an impact it was on me to have a community of people who understood what we had gone through and what we were going through. It was a place full of kids that were all a lot like me. They had all struggled in school, and they had all had autism.
Graduated, and I had time to kind of reflect on what was going on, what I liked, what I didn't like. And I think that one of the things that kind of I came to was that, again, everyone is unique. Everyone is unique, and different things are people you would consider to be really strangely or the wrong way to something. Um, it's tempting to be like, what is wrong with this person? But eventually, I know for me, I've actually come to realize that chances are, if that person is reacting in a way that's really weird, there's actually probably a reason behind that besides they're just trying to be difficult. It might be that maybe it's just they had a bad day, or maybe they have mental illness.
They're the main core subjects of math, science, social studies, language arts. We also have our socio-academic programming, which is what we do in the afternoons at Temple Grandin School. So that has varied a lot. We've had everyone from behavior analysts to mental health practitioners to school social workers who have been involved in the planning and the teaching of that. And so depending on how comfortable various people are with leading groups versus working with students one-on-one, and the needs of what kinds of social issues or social skills teaching that students have needed, the programming has really flexed to meet whatever those needs have been.
When it comes to TGS, I think that they had a really, really important impact on my life, and I'm very, very thankful to have gotten to be there. And I really took from that school the whole social side of learning how to be social and how to interact with others and how to read faces to tell their emotions, to tell if this is a good time to talk to them right now, or to tell if maybe they're very inviting and they want to sit and chat, or other types of emotions that may sway a conversation. And I very much believe that that is why people don't think that I'm on the autism spectrum when they meet me and they don't know me, because I can socialize like a neurotypical person because of TGS.
You've got these things. Well, how can we make it so that if you feel like you have to scream because there is something going on, that's okay for now, but how can we work to get you to a point where you don't feel that's necessary?
Tuition is our main source of covering our expenses, and so it is a lot. We don't receive government funding. Occasionally, we will have students whose families have been able to persist and get placement through a school district, but that currently is a fairly long and often contentious process that brings along with it a lot of impacts to the family and the student by the time they get to our school. So our tuition ranges right now from $33,000 to $39,000, I believe, maybe 40 this year. And the range of that is between middle school and high school, and depending on the needs of the students. And it's a lot. We do have some tuition assistance that we can provide to families who ask for it, but it's typically not really enough to make the difference of can we afford the school or can we not for most families. And so families have done lots of creative things to try and manage the tuition. Some families have used their 529 funding for, you can use that for college, but you can also now use it for K-12 private schools. Families who had only one parent working have had two parents. The second parent has taken a part-time or full-time job to help with that. Sometimes people pull equity out of their houses. Sometimes they get relatives. If there's a strong family support system, multiple relatives will pitch in to help with that. Our families are pretty creative in figuring it out. We also try to be as flexible as possible with our payment plans so they can spread it out across the entire year. If that is what's helpful to them, that they can do that and make it possible. It is a lot. And, you know, we hear sometimes people say that they can't choose between, you know, they can't prioritize a high school tuition or a middle school tuition over later on paying a college tuition. But I think in many of the cases of the kids who come to our school, that's kind of a false choice, because if they didn't have our program or something, you know, as intensive or like that, college would be much less of a possibility for them at all.
Schools don't know how to be or how to help these kids. They're not typically equipped for them, and it's really important that people with autism get intervention as a kid so that they are able to grow up and live relatively normal lives. But some people are not that lucky, and it can really change your quality of life. When you're a kid and you're not being treated as really like it's sometimes it doesn't feel like you're human. People look at you like you're an alien, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want what happened to me to continue. I don't want that to be repeated for other kids. We have a lot of work to do, and it's important to discuss this, to know the signs, for teachers to know how to take care of these kids, and for kids to be taught that this is okay.
Yeah, we used to say when we first opened that it would be great if there came to be a time where there wasn't a need for us to exist, because all of the school districts and the public schools that our nation has chosen to, you know, that's our model of education in our nation largely, if they were able to meet the needs of all students truly, that would be fantastic, and we wouldn't exist anymore, and we wouldn't need to, and our mission would have been accomplished. I also think that just in general, this group of students has potential to do a lot for society. They have a lot of interesting ideas. They solve problems in unique ways. They see things that other people might not see. And so I think for our society to be able to prioritize that in such a way that they would consider funding it, and not consider it as a competitor to public schools in some way, I think would be amazing.